Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, we all have suspected that for quite some time the SNP will eventually go into administration. It will be bankrupted effectively, spending way more than it's bringing in. It hasn't got the corporate sponsorship, it hasn't got the membership basis anymore, and if it loses a lot of MPs at Westminster at the next election, that will be its major source of funding gone. And at that point, bang, it goes. And I think the SNP know that they're going. They know that they are finished and that they are done. And so they want to go out with a bang. And they want to go out by not only bankrupting themselves, but by bankrupting the entire country. Scotland is in a grave danger of going completely bankrupt. And this isn't just me saying it. This is a report from the Finance and Public Administration Committee, the committee that overlooks all the sort of the public spending and the income that is generated into the Scottish Parliament, and says, look, you're not bringing in as much here as you try to spend. You're committing to spending that you're not got any financing for, and the only way it can be paid is if you bankrupt the country. It's a sobering lesson, but it's not one that we should be surprised about, is it? Given how bad they are at finances. But we'll take a look at this, and it is obviously, I think, a time now where somebody has to step in to save Scotland from going utterly as a failed state. Here goes. So Scotland risks bankruptcy under SNP government as Humza Yousaf is told to come clean on the council tax freeze. The First Minister has faced another blow, with Holyrood's Finance and Public Administration Committee saying affordability does not appear to be a key factor for his executive. Spend, spend, spend. I don't know where the money's coming from, but we've got to look good by spending, because spending money makes people think that we are generous and wonderful instead of looking like we are, which is completely moronic and destroying the future of the country and the people in it, because we have an urge and a need to create a failed state. That's exactly what's going on. They need to destroy Scotland so that they can get everyone behind them and push for this wonderful utopia that they want to build afterwards. They're finished. They are absolutely finished. Scotland risks running out of money due to reckless spending by the SNP-run Scottish Government, according to a new report. MSPs on Holyrood's Finance and Public Administration Committee concluded affordability does not appear to be a key factor in decision-making processes. Well, it never was. Yes, I know we can't afford it, but we've got to do it because otherwise people will think that we're not very good at our jobs. That seems to be the mentality of these people. Humza Yousaf was also told to come clean on how he will pay for his council tax freeze, announced at the recent SNP conference. Not announced, of course, in Holyrood, because in Holyrood it would be scrutinised and people would go, how are you paying for it? Whereas you do it at a conference and you just get the performing seals to go, oh, isn't he brave and marvellous? And nobody questions how the hell he's going to pay for it. It comes with the government facing a £1 billion black hole ahead of setting the 24-25 budget next month. That's £1 billion now. At conference, he's announced this council tax freeze, which we've subsequently worked out can be anywhere between £500 million and £1 billion, plus 300 million that he wants to upgrade the NHS with. Where does he think this money's coming from? Is he plucking it from somebody's arse? It will be a blow to Mr Yousaf, whose administration was criticised for having a short-term focus with little forward planning. No planning whatsoever, I would have thought. It doesn't appear to have any planning. It just seems to be spur of the moment. I've had a bright idea. Let's think about it. No, let's not. Let's just do it. Yeah, okay, that's the idea. And then doubles and trebles all round. 3 of his own MSPs sit on the committee, including the convener, Kenny Gibson. He said he hopes the report will bring much needed impetus, focus and direction to the Scottish Government's reform programme. In its medium-term financial strategy announced in May, the government acknowledged the need for tough and decisive action. Yes, here's the best thing you can do. Call an election and say, please, let someone else come in, someone who knows what they're doing, someone who isn't going to screw up every single decision that they make. Every single one. The SNP have not got one single thing right. Ever. Not one. In its report, the committee said, "We are concerned that affordability does not appear to be a key factor in the Scottish Government's decision making." An earlier report published by the committee in January said MSPs were not convinced that the Scottish Government was carrying out enough strategic long-term financial planning to ensure fiscal sustainability. The committee had claimed that the government appeared to be firefighting on a number of fronts. And the latest report said there's little evidence to suggest a shift away from a short-term approach to financial planning. In other words, they're not looking where they're going. They're just seeing here and now, what can we do to make things better? Everything's shit. We've made everything shit. Everything's shit now. What can we do to clear the shit up? I know. Let's buy some gold paint and paint the turds gold. Then everyone will think the world is filled with gold. It's not. It's filled with shit painted gold. Only it's your gold they're using. The committee is now urging ministers to come up with a full response to the report from the Scottish Fiscal Commission, which warns Scottish Government spending over the next 50 years could exceed the funding available by an average of 1.7% a year. This should see the government setting out the actions it will take to start addressing the longer term challenges ahead. And this is with the backing of Westminster. How bad would this be if Westminster wasn't there? If you didn't have, the ability to go crying to Westminster when you've screwed it up totally. Please fix it for us. Please give us more money. Because if you're an independent nation, that wouldn't be happening. They raised concerns that the government's capital budget, which is used to fund long-term investments such as infrastructure, hospitals, research, development, etc., will be 16% smaller in real-term issue values in 2028-29 than it was in 23-24. On the issue of the council tax freeze, the report called for more details on how this will be funded and stated a more fundamental reform of council tax is now overdue, with the SNP pledging to scrap it 16 years ago. But of course they can't, because nobody in the SNP is clever enough to work out a way of doing it. Because one of the key requirements of joining the SNP is that you are mentally retarded. Just look at them. The committee went on to highlight how the government's planned public service reform programme had changed multiple times since just May 22. MSPs noted that the financial challenges facing the Scottish budget, but the report argued this was a missed opportunity to be further along the path to deliver more and effective, sustainable public services. It continued, it is disappointing that commitments set out further details of the Scottish government's reform programme have at times not been met. Not been met is an understatement of the year. They have failed at everything. Every single thing they've announced has failed. Seriously, go check it. There is not one policy announcement that they've announced, that's happened. Not one. It is failure after failure after failure. They've failed on costs. They've failed on implementation. They've failed often on even getting it onto the books. Those that have got onto the books have been shown to be complete failures. Everything has failed, cost money, been ineffective. They never ever build failure metrics into their proposals, so nobody knows what the point at which it succeeds or fails is. And they daren't build failure metrics in, because day one, fail. Okay, we'll try this, fail. We'll try that, fail. Literally like that. Fail after fail after fail. They should be banned. They're that retarded. Anyway, Mr. Gibson says, as the Scottish budget approaches, we've seen little evidence to suggest a shift away from the Scottish Government's short-term approach towards financial planning, an approach hampered by reliance on one-year UK financial settlements. And the creation of a new expert group to advise ministers on tax was welcomed by the committee, with the convener saying, given the financial challenges ahead, it's imperative that their work to a clear taxation strategy for Scotland proceeds at pace. At the moment, they don't know what they're getting because they don't plan anything. They haven't got a clue what's coming. They have to beg Westminster for updates, upgrades, more money all the time. All the time. They literally are going cap in hand on a monthly basis trying to go, we need this for this, we need this for this, this bill has to be paid. If you had an independent Scotland, you could ask Westminster, but Westminster would just say, no, you're on your own. You're an independent country. Tax your own people for it. and they'd have to double the rate of income tax at the minimum to pay for this. A Scottish Government spokesperson said, as we set out the medium-term financial strategy, a lie, isn't it? Medium-term, my arse. We will do all we can within our powers to ensure public services are on a sustainable path. That'll make a change because you haven't yet in 17 years. The Scottish Government will carefully consider the Finance and Public Administrations Committee's report and provide a full response to the committee after the Scottish budget is published on December the 19th. And that report will be, we don't understand most of what you said, we don't have an answer because we are all retarded. Look at them. It is quite literally a school for dunces, isn't it? They're on the short bus, this lot. They really are. Not one of them has got a clue what they're doing. Anyway, round off we come up. So there you go. Scotland being buggered bandy. Simply because sitting at the top table are a bunch of people, all of whom are in some way mentally lacking. You have a man who's consumed with racism. You have people that are just consumed with single objectivity, either independence or sexualisation of children and things like that. Or you have the likes of Shona Robinson, who I suspect, actually, possibly, has translocation Down syndrome, just looking at the eyes. And, you know, that leads to like a lowering of the IQ. So that wouldn't surprise me. It does explain a lot, doesn't it? When they can't come up to, with solutions to the problems they've made. You know, you're sitting around there and the leadership of the country has an IQ averaging around 90. That isn't going to be good, is it? But still, you get what you vote for. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Ross Kemp. Ross Kemp plays Grant Mitchell. Phil Mitchell, EastEnders. He has translocation Down syndrome, you know. Look at the eyes. Same eyes as Shona Robinson. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope this has been informative. It's very scary if Scotland does go bankrupt, but we all know who to blame if it does. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, and I shall talk to you later. Bye.